side. We always say we got that.
I reckon
that circle.
Millie Island circle, you know? Haven't had one.
You see, we all. So with the Millie Island, what I always think when we think of the circle, it has to touch the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it's cut down the middle like that, you look at left, you look at right. I find it easier to predict the Millie when it cuts straight across it because it's like a 50% chance, pretty much, to get a Millie Island circle. So I know. I think it's a way up. What in the world is going on? It's bumper cars.
Bumper cars.
It's bumper cars.
I've been really wrong with the circle. Let me know your thoughts. I want to see who you guys kind of feel from the circle now. We've got SMB on the move early. We do have Hall of Game actually here. So this is not a free pull-up. Yuri is called for backup early. Mummy's on the way, but he's not going to get there before SMB gate. You know, a bit of landfall, bit of damage coming their way. Careful now, boys. Yeah, they're back in. They're out. They're off ski. But will you make it fast enough?
It's slow. It's slow, Lauren. He's baited him. He's absolutely baited him.
That's a banger. They're still in dire straits, Rich, but I mean, that was pretty solid. Okay. How much more you got? Because the rest of Hall of Game are turning up. They're coming on over. I think SMB thought they had it, man. They were like, oh, dude, I got him. He's not even on the bike yet. Easy. Nah. Here come the rest of the side. Karks is here now, joining in. Gorilla has to be a bit careful. As has got a nice peek towards him here, but the nade could be an issue. There it is, sends it. Doesn't quite find it. A bit of a tag, but not enough to write home about.
Mine's lurking at the back as well. It's not much to play with. A shotgun and an Uzi. Oh, he's only just reloaded it as well, so that'll be a hard hold. However, you know, the shotgun showing its face in many a different situation thus far. Nade inside, bounces way too far. Rip9's like, what in the world do I do here? It's not going to hit hard, but he does get the element of surprise. However, they're well aware of it. I mean, yeah, lingering, lurking outside of it. Not much you can do about that, really. Instant flush, instant finish. They get one more. They'll be rocking and rolling at heaven. They can call that home. Teams currently bigger picture. You see Navi's tripped up over VP in an open field. The BatulinS has gone down. Spyro's there to trade off on alya. Things are getting a little bit spicy. Hall of Game will go down. They'll be the first, Supermassive Blaze go down. I completely misread that one altogether. Example onto Perfectix, and he still keeps going. Very little HP. He will hold the line. Lose there to respond. But my word, two massive teams are in this lobby. Two massive CIS teams just going toe-to-toe early game. It usually spells disaster. Qwizzy's committed to the cause. Out comes Lou with the SLR. The sixth time to try and deny him any leverage on it, but Mellman's committed also. They are going for this. They want to give VP as good as they're getting, but Mert in the distance denies it. Qwizzy's inside, and he's no idea. He's got a gun to his head. His brains are splattered across the wall, and VP holds strong.
He was trying to shuffle in towards you. He was like, oh, I've put on the pounds a bit. What's going on? I can't fit in the doorway. It's because there's a player there. There's a goddamn player right there.
Blows his head off. I mean, it's got to scare you, hasn't it? He has no idea he's there. He's like, okay, shuffle, get ready for it. Bang. Nope.
You get so much cover to play with, so many divots and dips to work across. Not quite the case here. Heroic's just still skirting the edges. Maybe heading slightly further south on this, or at least on the move when the circle hits. Okay. Now, with this in mind, as you can see, compounds are taken, and also as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of push teams are not within that. Now, DA getting a little greedy out there on the northeast side. That could be taken. Lipovka can be worked in towards, but it's a step beyond that. Teams don't just want safety for a second. They want security going forward. I love where FaZe are currently. It's one of my more favored places to even play towards if the circle ever favors it. I think it's wonderful fun. VP, Spyro's going on a mad one. He's just tried to get over to this compound ahead of Gear Up on his own. The rest of VP, keep in mind, there's only 3 of them, so it's always going to be a 2-1 split. They are sending at least another to give it a little bit of a drive-by here, that being Lou. Actually on the pull-up as well. They're committing to this, and that's a nade in hand. Spyrro, this is a dangerous game that VP are playing. Maybe playing a little risky here in the final go of things.
Finally, some nades do fall down. Kind of what we wanted to see. Try and be able to hold them back with Lou down. They need to set up some sort of support to be able to make it there. With the nades going in, thankfully, they don't have the full information of the location just yet. Heroic, the second they hit the building. Oh, no, that's a good nade. That has caused all more problems. And the molly's in there as well on Beamy. It's perfect.
Oh, it's done.
His feet are on fire. That could not have been any more perfect. Oh, my word. They just posted it into the back room and they're all dead. Lou's trying to get away with his life and make it into the safety net of the smoke. Perfectix to shoot in the ground. This will try and keep people back, ultimately. BBL are looking like, yeah, you know what? Well, we probably don't want that fight. We can see a couple of players inside the old trenches, so we'll kind of avoid it for now.
This guy is really quite spicy today. Now, doesn't quite have the same work with the SKS, but you can see the state of CodeMarco. After receiving a fair bit of flack en route now, we did see that xmpl actually turned attention towards Gorilla too. Where was he? Okay, middle of the open, outskirts of Mansion. Now, Hall of Game going to be working their way forward. They're going to take over the opposing side. Get themselves in here. As you can see where Salik and co are, they're still trying to mop up all the goodies that they got off the back of those incredible bit of utility work coming in. But yeah, I don't love what VP did then. Timing maybe mistaken, didn't quite see the team, or just overly confident. Who knows? Who bloomin' knows? But BBL, you pulled up here. Let's see what you can do with it now.
Scalp taken down. Okay with this for now. Envelope clutching at straws just to go with a random nade and a hope and a prayer they can knock one of the BBL players. It's not really the best place to be firing off, but because you can evacuate this, they do know that this fight has to come to a head. Only one of these two teams can survive. You start running away from this and bailing on it, you're open and exposed to gunfire. QM, TL. Liquid still in the mix down south. The position not the greatest in the world now, especially with QM pretty much stationary. Directly in front of them, we look at the map, there's no real compounds open for a team to just go for a full Hail Mary. BBL firing a few nades back. Let me expect them to go forward. ENCE, by the way, is making a push, and so is DA.
Are they crashing it or just pulling up on the side of the road?
I think they're taking road at the moment. There's the crate there in front of ENCE, which they, to be fair, could actually park vehicles at and maybe build themselves some sort of a fortification. The problem is that DA is on the same trajectory path. So the second that ENCE pulls up, they might do the same. Good nade finally strikes. Second one off the back of the vehicle. There's one of them underneath Metralius's face. He goes down, and all of a sudden, within seconds, BBL is absolutely smashed into oblivion. With one nade going back and already TM losing one player. The scoreline isn't quite even, but now there is something. Merc goes all the way behind them and causes them all kinds of problems. That is a phenomenal shot, but it's actually Aitzy who puts him down in the end. It moves to a 1 versus 1, and that molly has struck Mert while BBL is down bad. They do hold on. Liquid is going for the pull-up to try and get involved within this one. If they can find Mert, they know this side of the map's actually kind of clear, and they might use it to swing around onto someone like DA. I mean, where else can they really go?
Yeah, that was actually rough to watch. BBL so absent then until Mert. Like, this is the frustrating thing. You look at what Mert just did. Insane. The guy is so talented, so good at this. The molly, everything was perfect, but it's just like they weren't doing anything until that point. Just got run over. Everyone's having a nightmare. Speaking of, Lou's got a couple of problems of his own. 4 players were coming his way. He's got Perfectix on the side. And speaking of good nades, Perfectix wants in on the action. That could be another belter. It's looking real good for Perfectix.
Oh my word.
This guy is something else, and VP just continue to be a nuisance. They're down to 2. They had no right, and they're still in the kill feed.
That is just a catastrophe. Liquid clutching at straws here, wondering really what to do. He's just sat here with the shotgun. Aitzy, first one to strike. Gibby will go down. Follow-up nade to mxey, who is very, very weak. If the nade bounces forward, which it has, it gives him time to heal. Straight out the car, clib arrives into a wall of bullets, and FaZe have kind of got this locked down. We're looking now for some of that mxey magic. We know this man before in the past has done some incredible work, but sadly FaZe is there to shut down Jeemzz. It comes down to the one-man army to hold on for Liquid's life.
Now, DA tried to pull up, but Rustanmar just caught Vard on the cross. So now it's Jeong and PiXeL who've made it across the road. Jembty still with Vard, so they can try and pick themselves up, but they weren't able to capitalize on this. FaZe on the move now. mxey, let's see if he can summon it. The boys won the jersey on the other side as well. 7 HP, and the floor's on fire. mxey, you got to make a move here. This is not fun. Oh, it's Gustav. There it is. Caught him. And that's FaZe. Keep probably 4 alive here. I don't see anyone quickly there enough to punish, but actually question marks on the way as well. All of game did get eliminated away from Mansion, if I'm not mistaken. It looks as though that would be the case. No, excuse me. I'm not too sure where that was. Because what I'm looking at now is the question mark have just slotted in behind FaZe. FaZe now have DA on the front lines. DA are also being kept pinned down by ENCE. There are so many issues going on right now.
Yeah, they're in the yellows as well, but getting out of there now in this kind of situation where it's so open and exposed is going to be hella difficult. This, I don't know. You've got QM who's slotted in behind them that can look down upon this. Yellow is just going for a full-blown center of the middle of the pond. Not a problem on that one whatsoever. Maybe it's just because of drawing the attention with the vehicle. He's leaning outside. He's jumped out and lose there to receive the full force. VP go down. They do not pick up another win today. So the monster has been halted for all but a moment. Jeong, same goes for him. FaZe are holding this. Very, very strong. But there is problems in abundance all the way around. That is an incredible nade. Both of the players in the vehicles have just been smashed into oblivion. Thank the Lord they drove away, otherwise the second one would have been even worse. But as you can see now, it's just...
It's a doozy who gets it? I guess it's got the elevation, right? Because they're on the higher part of the compound, so FaZe couldn't see it. Oh, they're going to go right on in towards it. Fate, though, gets at least a bit of damage done, but overwhelmed. Yeah, a little bit of a trade out on that. DA do go down, but question mark also lose a player. This should encourage FaZe maybe to reconsider. Can we deal with question mark now, or are they not a direct problem? Because Fate's on an island, so I wonder if FaZe see any of question mark make that push and decide to take back the higher ground. But it's either here nor there, because over on the other side, Vanir have to work their way in too, and that's a problem because they have Galacticos on one side and xmpl actually moving up on the other.
Getting interesting. The whole center of the map is completely open. It's actually Vanir on your screen who are the closest. Good old nade. Yellow, first one to strike. For Galacticos, they need to make some sort of advancement out of the compound that they're within. We'd have to anticipate, unless they get the hard shift, the circle will probably not be with them. But the reason they're holding the building is that you've got ENCE looking into this. That little bit of elevation that they have from the building windows keeps ENCE at bay. FaZe are also staring down and shooting them from the bottom, so ENCE can't really move. They're pinned in. But same can be said for Vanir. If they decide to push up, they have to deal with xmpl out front. If they decide to push backwards, they deal with Galacticos. It's not a great place that they're holding currently.
Now, this circle has cut off question mark, it's cut off xmpl, it's cut off Galacticos, it's cut off Vanir. I guess part of ENCE is in and part of FaZe is in. Now, does FaZe sit here in these compounds or try and play for somewhere stronger? Do they have the ability to do so? Because it's just kind of open ground, little light hillsides. At least nowadays, it's got the woods that surround it. That would have been a very different scenario when that wasn't the case. So for question mark, they can regroup towards, I think it's a doozy who's towards the south, maybe, Fate. But you can see Galacticos, Vanir, and xmpl are just going to take chunks out of each other.
Whatever smokes you want to do, you're still clutching at straws. All the utility is about to be cycled through. Doesn't quite hit just yet, but that one's right underneath the back of the vehicle. Perfect. Fender lost. On time, on point. That man has been a bit of a machine for Galacticos this week. Or at least today, excuse me. Yacht on the side. BTM. Info comes through that he's lurking on this side. Just being careful. For now, he's overstepped the boundaries. He's not looked for the snake in the grass, and finally, it will hit. Still, Fenderlost is there. Solidify Vanir's fate. 6th position. Move into the top 5, which ultimately could be the top 4 any second, because xmpl fight against the Galacticos has to come to a head now.
Yeah, and with Lyron being a little bit more preoccupied with ENCE, you're going to see it being pretty much a 3v3, so a fair fight, so easy to underestimate Exhalation here, but with that nade connecting, it is going Galacticos' way. Now, does Zoom find any room to work here? Does he find a little bit of an angle to play with? He's tried to get up close, he tried to hit a bit of a flank, he can't make it count. Galacticos still keeping things going. Salik does well towards one, but surely overwhelmed. There it is. The overwhelm comes in, and the West is one. That means that's going to be Galacticos' ENCE hold the north, FaZe towards the east, and the south is question marks.
Big ol' pause for a moment while teams get stabilized. Dante, he's here to keep track of what's going on. 4 teams, 4 alive. Galacticos ends towards the north. QM and FaZe down south. I mean, QM are starting to push towards us and get set up. They'll put the smoke wall down to give them some sort of cover. But the leverage will not necessarily be with them. However, Thendalos from a distance onto Fate. That is huge. The follow-up as well, with the confirmation on the kill. But they've already committed to this, so they have to stay their feet and fight this out, Lauren. And ultimately, by losing one off the bat, they could have just lost this fight entirely.
They could have, but now there's so many other... Aitzy's just seen the entirety of ENCE moving up.
Oh,
he might let them run. He might let them run because Galacticos is on the other side. He's just about in the open enough to put down some shots towards it. But if anything, spur him on. Deal with Galacticos for us. That'd be great, because then we can move up. But actually, Lyron finds Tiikzu. And now ENCE in the middle of the open. They've got problems either side. And this is where issues really begin. FaZe aren't completely away from question mark yet. Tiikzu's on the knees. He can't get away from it now. Gustav just tapping away. Very light on ammo, too, there. Actually, he's doing all right. Excuse me, 61 still spare. Molly's going to claim Tiikzu's life. FaZe chomping at the bit, and question mark are just shadowing them so gently in the back. You can see Dante and Aduzi watching with bated breath, and Diggory's got the big green, so that could change things now. ENCE looked like they want to be productive, try and be proactive towards Galacticos, but now they know that FaZe will be coming their way, and that's the first tag. Fex feels the full force, and ooh, as well. Rustanmar, he's got the MK14. These boys are absolutely geared out of their minds.
It's one player compared to Galacticos and FaZe, so that's the issue. It depends how much gear you want to say is worth the life of one player. With an aid up towards Rustanmar's position. We've got to look for that AWM to start getting some serious picks now, really even up the scoreboard and remove some players from play. ENCE do have the advantage in the fact that FaZe have to move forward. Vehicles coming around the back, look for the drive-by to try and make something happen. Diggory now faces and turns to his attention towards FaZe Clan. But with how many smokes are down, it's going to be easier said than done. One angle from that makes it even a little bit more harder for the molly down. That's good and preemptive from FaZe. This pushes him away from the small amount of cover that he
counter
did.
mollies as well. They're so good, Rich. Even ENCE like this back and forth between them, they can barely see each other. Ooh, look at this send coming out from question mark. That's kind of madness, but you got to try and do something mad, I guess, at this point. Lyron does find Dante. It's going to be just Aduzi still alive, and it looks like Honor just wants to try and get involved in this, try and get it done. Aduzi outdoes him, and that's still going to be issues starting him out here. Aduzi's isolated one. That's going to weaken the back lines here. ENCE still trying to operate with 3, unable to convert any of these tags, all the damage, all the mollies, all the utility. FaZe is now at the door. There's the first real blood being drawn. What? Aitzy gets that great trade for Diggory. Back and forth we go. Just Lyron with the steal. Nade. Diggory finds Fuzzface. It's going to be Aitzy and Fex still alive against Diggory and Squeaky. Some incredible talent now about to throw down, Rich.
Thendalos is also pushing on the other side of the map, so keep an eye on that kill feed in case he does knock out QM. Leaning to the left-hand side, Fex already tanked up. It's only down to Aitzy round the corner. Can he make it work? Question mark go down. I said keep a track on that, and it happens. Now the 2-man squad versus Aitzy alone, just looking. But Galacticos is wrapping into the center of this. This would be a massive, massive mistake if they somehow lose this. They have to be careful they do not overextend and try and tackle this fight as individual players. 2-2 will unfold, and we will wait for 20 seconds. That is a massive swing from Gustav, though, going down like that to Squeaky. It is what it is, and Squeaky comes out on top with 2 of them. It's big, but that is not over just yet. They have to continue this fight. Galacticos is going to push this.
11 kills, Rich. Galacticos are absolutely popping off, but Squeaky has found Thendalos, but the loss of Diggory, and now Squeaky left in the undesirable, the hard scenario, and he's been flanked already.